Story in the New York Times about Ted Cruz and his not having reported properly a loan he got in his Senate campaign from Goldman Sachs. Are you concerned about that? You think voters should be?
Well, I heard it's a big thing. I know nothing about it, but I hear it's a very big thing. I hope he solves it. I think he's a nice guy, and I hope he gets it solved.
You've been in the public spotlight for years and years. He has not. He's relatively new to the national scene. Do you think it's possible that there's lots of things about him in the background that now, as he becomes a leading candidate, should be investigated?
I wouldn't know. I mean, he's been really up until the last few days, and the reason is that I'm doing very well, and I can understand it. But he's been very, very nice to me, very respectful of my ideas, my whole being. He's been really terrific, and I just hope that's not a big problem for him.
It looks, to some people, it looks like it could just be you and him. Certainly in Iowa, you guys are kind of head-to-head. As you said, he's hitting you now, right? Just yesterday, I think he said, in a critical way, he said you have New York values. Does that seem like criticism to you? Do you embrace New York values?
I embrace. Look, in New York, we took a big hit with the World Trade Center. Worst thing ever. Worst attack ever in the United States. Worse than Pearl Harbor, because they attacked civilians. They attacked people having breakfast. And frankly, if you would have been there, and if you would have lived through that like I did with New York people, the way they handled that attack was one of the most incredible things that anybody has ever seen. Here we had these two massive 110-story buildings coming down with all of the death and all of the destruction and even the air, the atmosphere, and the smell of death. And very few people could have handled, very few cities could have handled it like that. And I'll tell you something. New York City and New York got a tremendous boost all over the world because very few people, and now you look at the area, it's incredible what they've rebuilt. So when people want to knock New York, first of all, you shouldn't be doing it because you have a massive population there. But when you want to knock New York, you got to go through me. New York is an amazing place with amazing people.
We saw an earlier report about him saying to a group of New York donors that you might not have the judgment to control the nuclear arsenal. Just talk about whether you think he has the judgment to control the nuclear arsenal, and compare your temperaments.
Yeah, sure. I think we both have strong temperaments, but in all fairness, I did not want to go into Iraq. I'm the most militaristic person there is. I was the one that was saying don't go into Iraq. I was the one that said take out Osama bin Laden before he knocked out the World Trade Center, right? And if you think about it, I'm the one that said don't go in. I'm sort of modest. I want to win. I want to go. I want to build our military. I want to make it so strong that nobody's ever going to play games or mess with us. But I think my temperament's the best. I built a tremendous company, very little debt, some of the greatest assets anywhere in the world. I mean, I have one of the great companies, and frankly, all private. I owned it. When I filed those papers, even you guys were shocked at how big and good it is. And I'll never forget, they all said I'd never run. And then I ran. Then they said I'd never file Form A or whatever it's called where you sign your life away, and I filed it. Then they said, well, maybe he'll never put in his financials because maybe he's not as rich as people think, and I turned out to be much richer. The company's phenomenal. You can't build a company like that unless, and it's so true, John, unless you have a great temperament.
Well, what about his?
I don't know about his temperament. Honestly, I don't know. He's had a very nice temperament. He has a lot of problems with a lot of people. I can say there are a lot of people that don't like him. They don't want to be called, liars on the Senate floor. And frankly, it's pretty tough stuff. But at the same time, he's very upset, like I am. I mean, I was asked I discussed it tonight in the speech. I was asked by one of your friends, one of the commentators, are you angry? Because Nikki and, they said I was angry. And I said to myself, I am angry because our country is being run by incompetent people, and it does make me angry, and that's why I'm running. That's why I'm doing this.
Side by side for voters in Iowa and around the country, you and Senator Cruz, I think you've said getting along with people is an important thing. Would you say, in general, your record of getting along with people is better than his?
Yeah, I would. I mean, look, I get along great with people. People don't know about that. I bring people together. My biggest disappointment with President Obama, I mean, one of many, is that he was a divider, not a unifier. I always thought he'd be a great unifier. He's been a great divider. I'm a unifier. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's one of my great traits. In fact, if you remember, before I was running, when they thought I was going to run, they were saying, well, he gets along with Democrats, he gets along with liberals, he gets along with everybody. I get along with everybody. Now, as a businessman, I had that obligation to get along with everybody because otherwise I probably wouldn't have done so well in what I do. But I got along with everybody.
Okay, so you'd say you get along with people better than he does? Is that fair to say?
I think so. I think most people would say that. Certainly people that know me would say that.
Your rallies, your big rallies in particular, have become kind of the signature events of this entire campaign for any candidate. I'm wondering how you feel when you're up there. Is it exciting for you? And how would you describe your style at these events?
Well, when I look at an arena where you have close to 15,000 people, and they, you know, I don't know if you know, 5,000 to 7,000 people were turned away, which actually makes me feel badly. They're standing in line, but they couldn't get them in. And other people come here and they'll have 103 people, they'll have 59 people, they'll have, you know, just a few people. They would just tell me outside, all of the folks, the political folks, people that you know very well, they were saying other candidates come here, if they get 100 people, it's like a lot. I had 15,000 and we sent away 5,000.
How do you feel when you're up there?
I feel great.
And how would you describe your style as a speaker?
I think it's very important that I don't read a speech. And I have a very good memory, great memory actually. So I'm able to do that. I think it's very important that I don't use a teleprompter. I mean, some people get up. There aren't too many of the candidates that, first of all, none of the candidates would get up there without speeches or anything, okay, in front of that many people. And you also have much live television. You saw how many television cameras, and they were live, or most of them were live. But you develop a great excitement and you develop a bond, and there's a lot of love in that room. There is love. That's a movement. That's not like a person coming in and making a speech and leaving after 20 minutes. There is love in that room. And you see it. You see standing ovations every few minutes. I mean, they go wild. They want to see America become great again. They know it's a problem. They look at all of the different things that I discussed tonight. They see such stupidity and such incompetence, and it feels great. And what really feels, I think, better than anything is when you can put that many people in a room, get standing ovations all the time, and the love. And it's that way everywhere. It's not like this is unique. When I go to Mobile, Alabama, when I go to Dallas, when I go to Oklahoma, when I go to Iowa, well, Iowa, I'm packed. I was there, I did 2 speeches on Saturday, and we were packed. And, you know, just no matter where we go, Lowell, Massachusetts, we filled up an arena that was never filled up for a political event before. You look at what happens in New Hampshire, they're packed. So, hey, look, it's a great feeling.
Last question.
You just use the phrase movement for what you're leading here, right? So just talk about, like, throughout history, what kind of past movements would you compare this movement to? What does this movement remind you of historically?
Well, I think it's greater than anything we've seen in this country. Now, with that being said, John, have to win. I was called by one of your very good friends, a man I have great respect for, but I won't say the name. And he said, what does it feel like? And that was 3 months ago, because the summer had just been over. They called it the summer of Trump. What does it feel like? And I said, what does what feel like? He said, it's the summer of Trump. It's never been done before. I said, never been done before. Who cares? What difference if you don't win? Now, recently I was called by the same person. Now he said, well, this is more than just the summer of Trump. But I said to him, it doesn't matter unless you win. Because to my way of thinking, I may go down and I have done a good job, but it doesn't matter unless I win. Now, Reagan had a little bit of this, but I don't think to the same extent. But he also won, so I haven't been in that position yet. We have to see what happens. I think that the closest thing I can think of is Reagan, but I don't think it's the intensity that we have. And don't forget, we're very far out. This far out, the Secret Service and all of the people, these are fantastic people. And I'll talk to people about, different, crowds and what. And everybody tells me that they've never seen crowds like this far away from November. We're talking about, it's a long ways away. And I'm very honored by it, but it is a movement. It's not just like, gee, it's a little political rally and people are showing up to have fun. These people are committed. And I sort of laugh and I think I'm going to be right, but we'll see. People sometimes wait in line for 7, 8, 10, 12 hours in cold and heat. And then I hear on television the brilliant pundits say, well, I don't think if he turns them out, like as an example, if those people go to vote, not a lot of people are going to be beating Trump. And we have crowds like this no matter where we go, bigger than this, because we have some arenas like in Dallas that are bigger than this. But if they go to vote, but they say, well, why would a person stand in line for 7 hours and then not want to go into a voting booth that takes 10 minutes? So I think they're going to vote.
Mr. Trump, we know you've got a big debate tomorrow.
Yes.
And it's relatively late, so we'll let you go. But thank you for making time for us.
Thank you both very much.
Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.